Palestine, at least 26 people have been killed and dozens injured Sunday after Israeli forces shelled a refugee camp near Rafah in the southern Gaza Strip with missiles. In Venezuela, the digital campaign Nicolike moved forward to confront the censorship imposed on President Nicolas Maduro in social media. And in Uzbekistan, Russian President Putin arrived in Tashkent to meet with his counterpart Shavkat Mirziyoyev to discuss diplomatic issues. Hello, welcome from the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the TeleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. In Palestine, at least 27 people have been killed and dozens injured Sunday after Israeli forces shelled a refugee camp near Rafah in the southern Gaza Strip with missiles, reports Al Jazeera. The Palestinian news agency Wafa reported also on Sunday attacks in northern Gaza town of Beit Lahia. An Israeli fighter jet attacked a residential apartment in the Nusayrat refugee camp in the central Gaza Strip, and another airstrike targeted homes in the center of the camp. Following the attacks, fire broke out in the Tel al-Sultan camp, preventing access to ambulances and civil defense personnel. Palestinian resistance movement Hamas repelled an Israeli aggression inside the Jabalia camp in the northern Gaza Strip. Hamas confirmed that the operation was carried out when a group of Israeli uniformed soldiers headed towards the Jabalia camp to carry out incursions. The action was carried out by the Al-Qassam brigades with explosives, killing and wounding several Israeli soldiers, but also taking several of them as prisoners. Hamas warned that every day of continued aggression against the Palestinian people in Gaza will have a significantly high cost for Israel. The Palestinian resistance movement Hamas, for the first time in 4 months, claimed responsibility for this attack with missiles to Israeli troops. Hamas said the attack was in retaliation for the Israeli massacres against the Palestinian people. This comes as Israel intensifies its aggressions against civilians in the city of Rafah, south of the Gaza Strip. On the other hand, leaders of the Palestinian resistance have denied Israeli statements about a resumed return to negotiations for a ceasefire in Gaza next Tuesday. They say they do not believe in any serious commitment to negotiations on the part of the occupying army, for they are only seeking to cover up their criminal acts in the Gaza Strip. The Palestinian leadership underscored that the Israeli occupation only aims at negotiating the release of the hostages, but Hamas insists on prioritizing a halt to daily assassinations and massacres against the civilian population in the Gaza Strip. Palestinian authorities confirmed on Sunday the entry of a humanitarian aid convoy to the Gaza Strip from Egypt through the Karem Shalom crossing. According to the Egyptian Red Crescent, about 200 trucks, each carrying 15 and 20 tons of food, water and medical supplies, entered the Gaza Strip. It's been the first time Egypt has sent aid to the Palestinian territories since Israel seized the Palestinian side of the Rafah crossing 20 days ago. The aid will be delivered to the United Nations on the Palestinian side. Despite the arrival of the shipment, authorities warned that the aid reaching the Gaza Strip continues to be insufficient for the Palestinian population affected by the bombings. The Bolivarian Alliance for the Peoples of America People's Trade Treaty urges the defense of the Palestinian cause while denouncing the Israeli genocide against the Gaza Strip. Through his ex-account, Secretary General Jorge Arreaza published a statement in support of Palestine in which he expressed that defending Palestine is defending humanity. He also stated that the ALBA, TCP and the social movements of the whole world will not rest. Arreaza also stated that they will continue from the streets and networks, adding wheels among those who are pained by the more than 35,000 dead in Gaza in only 7 months of incessant armed aggression, and called for raising voices for a free Palestine. In other news, in India, at least 7 babies have died due to a fire at a children's hospital in the country's capital, New Delhi. Hospital workers and people on the scene broke through the flames and rescued all 12 babies at the maternity ward. Still 7 died, according to a police report. Fire Department Chief Atul Garg said that the fire broke late on Saturday and its flames spread very quickly due to the explosion of oxygen cylinders. Police have opened an investigation against the hospital owners. This is the second deadly fire reported in India in less than 24 hours. Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at TeleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. Those stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back. In Venezuela, the digital campaign Nicolike, an initiative to confront the censorship imposed on President Nicolás Maduro in social media, moves forward. Through digital platforms, the Venezuelan people respond to the international media blockade aimed at making the massive mobilizations in support of the national government and its policies invisible. Through President Nicolás Maduro's social medias, users will be able to interact with the president and produce digital content with the hashtag Nicolike. This digital mobilization will be a space to align the communication agendas of the country's social and political movements in order to guarantee the re-election of Nicolás Maduro this coming July 28th. In this context, the president of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, marked the beginning of the digital campaign hashtag Nicolike, publishing through his social media X that today, Sunday, they are going to defeat censorship and banning in the networks, joining efforts and assuming a new attitude and power. For her part, the first combatant, Cilia Flores de Maduro, published on her WhatsApp channel a video in support of the digital campaign hashtag Nicolike in order to break the censorship imposed on the accounts of Nicolás Maduro and the Venezuelan people. Likewise, the Minister of Communication, Alfred Nazareth, stated on X that a hashtag Nicolike campaign began a challenge to break the censorship and banning of President Nicolás Maduro on social medias and encourage people to follow Nicolás Maduro's channels on WhatsApp. Venezuelan Foreign Minister Ivan Hill also joined the digital campaign and wrote on the social media X that now everyone is breaking the censorship in the social medias and encourage everyone to follow all the accounts of President Nicolás Maduro, comment with the hashtag Nicolike, like and repost the publication. We will win. In the United States, in Texas, at least 5 people have been killed by one of the several tornadoes that swept through several cities on Saturday. The tornadoes have left thousands of people with no electricity. Authorities say injured people have been airlifted to hospitals to avoid damage surrounding highways. Meanwhile, the National Weather Service has issued a storm warning specifying an unstable situation that could give way to the occurrence of more tornadoes, thunderstorms with hail, and dangerous winds. In El Salvador, a heat wave persists in spite of the rains, with temperatures above 40 degrees Celsius in some regions. According to the Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources, temperatures could reach up to 40 degrees Celsius in areas near the Guilla Lake, the Cerrón Grande Reservoir, and the villages in the eastern region. Experts say the current heat wave in El Salvador and Central America results from the so-called heat dome, a phenomenon that also affects Mexico and the United States. They have warned that in the next 7 days, Central American countries could experience temperatures between 40 and 42 degrees Celsius. Meanwhile, in Brazil, authorities updated the death toll to 169 after devastating floods in the state of Rio Grande do Sul. According to civil defense data, 806 people were also reported injured in rain-related incidents, while more than 2 million people are affected in 469 municipalities. The National Water Agency indicated that the water level of the Guaíba River dropped 17 centimeters in 12 hours. However, several areas continue to be flooded in the state capital, Puerto Alegre. On the other hand, health authorities warn of more than 800 suspected cases of leptospirosis being investigated in refugee camps. So far, 54 have been confirmed and 4 people have died of the disease. In Bangladesh, late Sunday evening, cyclone Remal expected to hit the southern coast and parts of neighboring India with forecast winds of up to 81 miles an hour. Meteorologists also predict the cyclone could unleash a storm surge up to 12 feet high above normal astronomical tide, which can be very dangerous. Cyclones have killed hundreds of thousands of people in Bangladesh in recent decades, for the number of superstorms hitting its densely populated coast has increased sharply from one a year to as many as 3. Most of Bangladesh's coastal areas are a meter or two above sea level, and high storm surges can devastate villages. Authorities have issued a highest level alarm, warning fishermen against going to the sea and triggering an evacuation order for those in at-risk areas.
We have been terrified for 2 days, those who live near the sea. Some have gone to shelters for their safety, and others are still deciding what to do in this situation. In the evening, many will go to the shelters.
Since this morning, we have been instructing the local people and tourists to go to the safe shelters, as the 10th level of danger has been reached. We are also trying to help people secure their homes and businesses with ropes so they can stay put during the storm.
We now have a fun short break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience. You can scan the QR code on screen to join directly and share the link to reach more people. Constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean as well as the rest of the world. Stay connected and informed with TeleSUR. Fun short break, don't go away. Welcome back. Russian President Vladimir Putin arrived in Uzbekistan to meet with his counterpart Shavkat Mirziyoyev to discuss diplomatic issues. On Sunday, the Russian leader arrived in Tashkent, where he was received by the President Mirziyoyev and a state guard of honor. The parties will meet to discuss the prospects of development and diplomatic relations, as well as share views on regional problems. As a result of this meeting, the parties plan to sign a substantial package of bilateral documents. This is the Russian president's third foreign visit after being inaugurated for a fifth term, following recent trips to China and Belarus. The Russian army has freed from a Ukrainian siege the town of Berestovo in the Kharkov district. Russia's defense ministry confirmed that as a result of successful combat actions, the units of the Western Group entered the town of Berestovo. They said that during this operation, Ukrainian forces lost about 285 troops. The Russian Defense Ministry also reported that after having mobilized the northern, southern, central, and eastern groups over the weekend, Ukraine lost about 1,590 troops. The Russian Defense Ministry stressed that during the operation, the Russian anti-aircraft defense shot down 32 shells of the U.S.-made HIMARS systems and 41 drones. Also, the Russian Defense Ministry reported that units of the Center Group took control of the town of Arkhangelsk in the Republic of Donetsk. They say that Ukraine lost at least 1,485 troops, one piece of self-propelled artillery, and 25 drones. Moreover, the Russian army destroyed 1,313 rocket launcher systems, 9,832 pieces of field artillery, and mortars, as well as 21,987 special military vehicles. Over the weekend, South African political parties held their final rallies ahead of Wednesday's May 29th key election day. Tens of thousands gathered in Africa's biggest stadium to take part in the African National Congress final rally. The ANC has been in power for 3 years in South Africa, but has been weakened in the run-up to general elections. The ruling party is projected to win about 40% of the vote, down from 57% in 2019, and be forced into a coalition government.
We gather here carrying with us the hopes and aspirations of millions of our people across the length and the breadth of South Africa to declare that together we will do more and we will do better. On Wednesday, the 29th, our people will decide whether our country continues moving forward with the ANC towards a better, brighter future, or backwards to a terrible past.
In this context, the radical left opposition party, Economic Freedom Fighters, held its final rally ahead of the May 29th elections. EFF firebrand Julius Malema said May 29th was going to be the beginning of a new nation. For his part, former South African President Jacob Zuma gave the keynote speech at the rally for his newly formed Umkhonto weSizwe party. Zuma, who has a conviction for contempt of court, has been barred from standing as an MP and those from the presidency. And as the electoral campaign drew to a close, President Cyril Ramaphosa addressed the nation in preparation for Wednesday's general elections.
This will be the 7th time that South Africans of all races, from all walks of life, from all corners of our country, will go to vote for our national government and our 9 provincial governments. We will once again assert the fundamental principle articulated in the Freedom Charter that no government can justly claim authority unless it is based on the will of our people. In the days to come, we will be doing much more than exercising our constitutional right to vote. We will be determining the direction that our country takes. We will be taking responsibility for our future, the future of our families, our communities, and indeed our nation.
Ramaphosa et al. Is set to guarantee security during the election day so that all South Africans can exercise their democratic right.
As in previous elections, our law enforcement agencies and security services have made extensive preparations to ensure that these elections are peaceful and that all South Africans can freely exercise their right to vote. They have been deployed throughout the country to ensure that there are no disturbances or disruptions to the election process. We thank them for their professionalism, their dedication, and their vigilance.
In France, Kylian Mbappé was proud to leave Paris Saint-Germain with his head held high after winning the Coupe de France on the final that was held on Saturday, and stated he will wait for the right time to confirm where he will play next season. Mbappe's contract is now up and he recently confirmed he would leave at the season's end as a free agent, with Real Madrid expected to be his next destination, even if neither the player nor the Spanish Giants have made any announcement. Mbappé did not score in Saturday's game and so leaves his hometown team with a club record tally of 256 goals in 308 appearances. The player talked about his time at the club and the great experience he had playing for them after 7 years. He was also happy to leave the club by contributing to the team's victory and winning the Coupe de France finale.
Nostalgia, emotion, as I said. We have time to think. It's very bad for the football player. Frankly, it was cool, because I always knew where I was, in good times and bad, and I was able to make the most of this unique experience. Playing for Paris Saint-Germain is unique. It's something I recommend to anyone who wants to experience greatness in their own country. Being French, I had the chance to experience it now. Of course, what I have here, everything that I had, I won't experience it again anywhere else, but I'm going to experience something else, and I'm sure the other things will be magical too. Because I think that, first of all, the best thing to do is to finish saying goodbye. I think all I wanted was to finish well with my club. There's a trophy. I think there's a time for everything. I'll announce my new club in due course. I think we're only a few days away. There's no problem. I don't know yet. It's still a few details. But the most important thing was to finish well here, no matter what happened. And the most important thing was to bid farewell to the club, to Paris Saint-Germain, and to win one last trophy. Obviously, he's a different player. We're not going to replace him with another player. Forget it. There's no replacement for Kylian Mbappé. We're going to do it through the team. through 4, 5, or 6 recruitments. The ones we can make, and Kylian's replacement will be the team that, with the fans we have, and with the ambition this club has, to try and win everything. That's what we are going to try in the following seasons, and we'll see if we are capable of achieving it.
We have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at TeleSURenglish.net. So join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.